Planting for Food and Jobs campaign launched in Goso.
3 weeks ultimatum to halt all illegal mining activities nationwide ends.
2 more persons arrested for illegal arms possession at Agboglushi in Accra. Hello, good evening. It's 7 p.m. Welcome to GBC24 and GTV. This is News Hour. I'm Thelma Taki.
And I am Emmanuel Hamagashi. We go to Goso for our very first story. President Akufo-Addo has launched the Planting for Food and Jobs campaign at Goso in the Bono-Afo region. The 560 million cedis program is expected to boost food production and create over 750,000 jobs.
Launching the program, President Akufo-Addo announced that government will build a 1,000 metric ton capacity warehouse in all the 216 districts of the country to store surplus food produced at the district level.
Immediately after assuming the presidency, President Akufo-Addo outlined his vision for the agricultural sector dubbed Planting for Food and Jobs. Prices of food are relatively expensive in Ghana, which demands immediate attention, and the way out is a comprehensive agricultural campaign to address this challenge. Hence, the Planting for Food and Jobs campaign. The campaign forms part of efforts to generate more wealth in the agricultural sector and to improve livelihood of farmers and fisherfolks, as well as help grow the national economy. It is designed to encourage all citizens to take up farming as full or part-time activity. The program has now taken off with 5 major crops, namely maize, rice, soybeans, sorghum, and vegetables. The campaign, which is anchored on 5 pillars: provision of improved seeds, supply of fertilizers, provision of dedicated extension services, marketing, and e-agriculture. According to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Osu Akoto-Afriyie, the campaign will set the country on a path of food sufficiency and security.
I wish to state that both private and public institutions are being called upon and encouraged and supported to set up their own farms. Institutions like the breweries, the food processors, schools, colleges, and prisons are all being encouraged to establish their own farms. In subsequent years, the campaign will be expanded to include industrial and other cash crops and the livestock subsector.
The President, Nana Akufo-Addo, outlined the measures the government is putting in place to ensure that the program succeeds.
Government intends to construct a 1,000 metric ton capacity warehouse in each of the 216 districts. The purpose of these warehouses would be to handle produce as well as to store the anticipated surpluses under the Planting for Foods and Jobs campaign. Government will also expand the feeder road and farm track networks to mitigate post-harvest losses and also ensure foodstuffs are available to customers.
He said, agriculture by 2030 will be big business in Africa, and the government is positioning the sector to meet the demand.
The World Bank estimates that agriculture and agribusiness together could command a United States dollars 1 trillion presence in Africa's continental economy by 2030, compared to 313 billion United States dollars in 2010. If we are to make headway, there has to be a fundamental change in attitude towards agriculture. Agriculture is not and cannot be a single crop industry. Farming is a business, and it is a profession that must be promoted and studied like all other professions.
About 560 million Ghana cedis has been earmarked for the Campaign for Food and Jobs program, and the return on investment is estimated at 1.3 billion Ghana cedis. In terms of job creation, 200,000 farmers have been selected to start the program in all the 216 districts across the country, and about 150,000 jobs are expected to be created this year. Let's go to the north of the country, where the World Food Programme has renewed its support to girls' education in 4 regions of the country. That's the Volta, Upper East, Upper West, and Northern regions. The package includes food rations to 30,000 girls in junior high schools in the beneficiary regions.
The program, which is currently being piloted in the northern region, has an innovation in the form of electronic voucher with the beneficiaries' biometric data. The World Food Programme says the e-voucher system eliminates transportation costs and stimulates the local economy, as local businesses have been contracted to supply the food rations. During a tour of some beneficiary schools in Tamale, the acting country director of the World Food Programme, Madame Madeleine Owusu-Moshi, said the program is aimed at encouraging girls to stay in school until completion, adding that each girl who attends school for 80% of a term gets a ration of 12 kilograms of beans, 6 liters of vegetable oil, and 3 kilograms of iodized salt. She revealed that the program also includes sensitizing parents on the importance of girl-child education. Madame Owusu-Moshi said the World Food Programme has added nutrition education and adolescent sexual reproductive health messages to influence adolescent eating habits and prepare them for healthy motherhood.
For this particular program, we are providing incentives in terms of foods to the parents so that they can allow their daughters to go to school. And the incentives are in form of vouchers. We have engaged traders from the area, and they are actually the ones who are supplying the food, and therefore also at the same time stimulating the local economy.
The Regional Girls Education Officer commended the World Food Programme for the initiative, which she described as an effective means of encouraging girls' education in the region. She said since its inception, the program has boosted girls' enrollment and retention in school.
When they stay in school, we put them in class. And in the clubs, they are able to perform. They are able to have self-studies. We teach them skills on how to learn on their own, and a lot of things that will help them to improve upon their performance. And at the end, when the program started, we used to have 1 or 2 girls qualifying for the scholarship. But as at last 2 years, WFP could not actually absorb all those who qualified.
She appealed to parents and guardians to support the initiative by encouraging their wards at home instead of giving them off to marriage.
National capital, enhancing the care and education of children from birth to 8 years was high on the agenda of the International Conference on Early Childhood Education in Accra. The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Ekufuado, urged women in Africa to ensure that no child is left behind in the education drive at an early stage.
Children are said to be the future of every nation. This assertion makes quality early childhood education very critical. However, in most developing countries, access to early childhood education for some children is an option. The World President of the World Organization for Childhood Education and Care, OMEP, Dr. Unshe Park, says every child has the right to quality childhood education, hence no child should be excluded.
OMEP has worked on to develop a UN Children's Convention of Rights, which will include all those children from the even underprivileged families and developing countries.
Dr. Unshe Park, the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Ekufuado, and the founder and executive director of the Salt and Light Ministries, Dr. Joyce Ayi, were among other dignitaries who addressed the 2017 OMEP Africa Regional Conference. Issues deliberated at the conference centered on the Sustainable Development Goals 4.2, which says by 2030, ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality childhood development, care, and pre-primary education. Parents, childhood educators, and the global community were entreated to be committed to serving as the foundational bricklayers of a child's educational journey.
We need to show Africa that young children's holistic development and enhanced learning has a strong multiplier effect, which can transform not only individuals but societies also.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, said one of the central driving force of the rise in the policy agenda of the provision of early childhood education and care across the globe has been the labor force participation of women.
This conference on transforming and strengthening early childhood educational systems for sustainable development in Africa is certainly timely. The governments, civil society, the private sector, and development partners must work together to enshrine the goals for quality education for girls and boys in our governmental policies in a way that creates lasting results for the future. Whether they live in a small village or in a bustling city, education must prepare all children for the 21st century world they will be responsible for shaping.
The three-day conference is transforming and strengthening early childhood education development systems for sustainable development in Africa. For GBC24, Ofeyiwa Dako reported.
It's still news hour live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. Let's go to the Eastern region now, where the 3 weeks ultimatum by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry to halt all illegal mining activities has ended. The sector minister has been in the Eastern region, where Galamsey has destroyed many forests and water bodies.
The 3-week ultimatum issued by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for all illegal miners to stop their activities on operations ended on Wednesday, April 19th. A joint team from the Ministry and the Minerals Commission toured some mining areas in the Eastern region to ascertain whether illegal miners or Galamsey operators have fully complied with the Ministry's directive.
Now we are saying that you need a permit for both the excavator and the person who is even going to do it. Now, getting the permit for the excavator is going to mandate them to do the tracking that we've been talking about. So as you are going to get a permit for the excavator, there's going to be tracking devices on the excavator. This will monitor it to do it properly. Please, let me tell you, this action, it's not a one-day action. It's going to be a sustainable and long period approach. And that's why we say the MMIP is going to be a 5-year program to totally sanitize the whole system.
Effects of illegal mining on the environment includes pollution of the water bodies, destruction and depletion of the country's forest cover, among others. However, some illegal miners have tendered in their equipment. The sector minister, Mr. Peter John Amewu, did not miss words in blaming the Minerals Commission for the current situation.
The withdrawal of these machines, they are not surrendering it to us. But the good thing is that they have actually realized the importance of the directive. We need to sustain this. As human and as Ghanaians, as we all believe, their thinking might be, in the next 3-4 weeks we will go back to the site. And that is why education is very important. For it. There is a sustainable way of managing this. And that is where the MMIP, is going to come in. It is a 5-year program, a project to make sure that we sanitize the whole system.
There was an interesting incident at Apinaman where the team chanced on an excavator at the residence of Mr. Akwesi Asabre. He told the team that he was in the mining business because his party had come to power. The minister did not take it kindly to his loose talk. For now, it looks as if the way forward to stop the wanton destruction of the environment through Galamsey lies in clamping down on illegal mining. Most of the major water bodies in the country, including the Brim, Pra, and Cobra and Tano, have been messed up.
Now, the Greater Accra Regional Police Command has arrested 2 more persons for illegal possession of arms at Agbogbloshe in Accra. This comes on the heels of clashes last week at the Yam Market, which claimed 1 life and injured many others. The issue of illegal possession of small arms came to the fore during the clashes, where civilians were reported to have fired shots at each other.
Agbogbloshe, home to one of the biggest markets in Accra, witnessed some pockets of violence last week, with 1 reported dead and many others injured. The situation on the ground was a fragile one, with the police and the military beefing up security in and around the market to protect lives and property. A week after the incident, the police says they have calmed tempers at Agboglushi and things have returned to normal.
Those who suffered injuries and were receiving treatment from the hospital, including the pregnant woman, are in stable condition, with 4 of them being discharged from the hospital. For now, business is going on peacefully, and as I indicated, it is not all about our presence, but also the dialogue that we continue to do behind the scenes to be able to ensure that we keep the peace that we've been able to maintain since the incident erupted. So the place is peaceful, but until we are satisfied and until we believe that it is necessary to pull out the men, we may not be able to do so until further notice.
The 5 persons arrested last week in relation to the violence are currently being processed for court. The 2 new arrests came upon a tip-off yesterday at 2 p.m. Investigations have begun in earnest.
On the 18th of April 2017, at about 2:30 p.m., the police on duty at Agboglushi, acting upon intelligence and with assistance from a member of the public, arrested 2 suspects by names Imoro Abdul Rahab, who is 25 years, and he says he's a scrap dealer. Then the second person is Kweku Amankwa, who is also 58 years, and he says he's a registered arm dealer, for possessing 500 rounds of ammunition. The police retrieved specifically 250 rounds of BB cartridges and 250 rounds of AA cartridges, summing up to the 500 pieces of cartridges in all.
The police is continuing with dialogue between the 2 feuding factions at Agboglushi. The Greater Accra Regional Police PRO, ASP Efia Tenge, says leadership of the various factions are playing a key role in the process. Meanwhile, police personnel are still stationed at the market as part of efforts to maintain peace and order in and around Agboglushi. Akpene Avo Ajaja, GBC24, Accra.
Chanti region now. The Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, has been honored for his contribution to medicine over the years.
The People's Choice Practitioners Awards, which is the first to be organized for medical practitioners and institutions, was to celebrate excellence and diligence and also promote healthcare for quality livelihood. At a maiden edition, which was held in Kumasi, some individuals and institutions in the health sector were recognized for their contribution globally and locally. Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng was honored with the Legend of the Year Award for his immense contribution to the health sector. He was decorated with a sash and a gold medal and received citation and a brass bust. The Managing Director of Media Men Ghana, organizers of the event, Dr. Benedicta Onhunimenu, said a first aid institution will be established and named after him.
The First Aid Center will enable all Ghanaians acquire the basic ability to assist efficiently in the prevention of possible preventable acute health conditions. The center shall raise funds to train professionals in first aid services, including telemedicine, in order to provide consultation through communication technology. The center will run a complementary ambulance, both by road and air services, to help convey patients to affiliate medical centers and hospitals. A toll-free short code will be made available to the public where people will call and receive professional first aid service on how to manage emergencies.
The renowned heart surgeon, who is also the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, said a lot more needs to be done in the area of science and technology.
The poverty gap is a technology gap, and we have to do the best we can to develop the capacity to do things for ourselves, create machines, build processes that will make our lives easier.
A former head and vice dean of the School of Medical Science of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Sir Joseph W. Echampon, encouraged health professionals to give of their best and be guided by the ethics of the profession. The Asante Hene Otumfuo said to lauded recipients of the awards for their service to humanity and encouraged them to continue to do more to save lives. He also tasked healthcare providers to show compassion for the sick and uphold high professional standards.
I am personally interested in the establishment of the PKFB, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng First Aid Center in Kumasi, which will run on both road and air state-of-the-art ambulances and highly trained health professionals in various disciplines, including telemedicine, to assist and provide first aid services to every Ghanaian during domestic and road traffic emergency. This welcome initiative will create job opportunities for people, deepen our infrastructural development, and ultimately save precious lives.
Other individuals who were honored include Dr. Mrs. Jigua Planchru, who received the Versatile Clinician for 2017 award, Madam Faustina Wonitani, Health Intern of the Year, and Dr. Tabitha Botri, Medical Officer of the Year. The PT Atokope Hospital received the Unparalleled Rural Health Facility of the Year, while Holy Trinity Hospital and Spa was adjudged Private Health Facility of the Year. Vodafone Ghana received the Philanthropic and Health Support Institution Award for the year.
Mamponting is a community in the Ashanti region that lacks basic social amenities. Members of the community attribute the challenges they face to the absence of a substantive chief in the area.
Mamponting is the capital of Kwabre district of the Ashanti region, located along the Kumasi-Asante-Mampon Highway. The over 2,000 inhabitants of the town engage predominantly in trade, commerce and crop farming. Even though the community can boast of some amenities such as police and fire stations as well as a health center, the major challenge is the lack of market centers to sell their produce. The only market in the community was pulled down some years back by the government with the promise of building a modern and decent one to befit the status of a district capital. The project was awarded on contract, for which construction began and progressed steadily with the hope that the deadline would be met. But when the project got to the lintel level, work stalled due to lack of funds. The people blamed the lack of development of the town on the absence of a chief in the past 14 years. It is against this background that the kingmaker settled on a 66-year-old building and road contractor known in private life as Yawa Boaji as the chief of the town. He succeeds Nana Etututu.
You're watching Primetime News on Ghana Television and GBC24. Time for a break. Business news is on that side of the break.
The business segment of the news brought to you by NIB and In our very first story, the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, has established a 300 million cedi support fund for viable projects in the value chain of the agricultural sector in the 2017 season. According to the managing director of the bank, Mr. Daniel Osiedu, the bank has a credit line of 150 million Ghana cedis farmers under the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
In addition to providing sponsorship for this launch, ADB will undertake the following actions in support of the program. Firstly, we have set up a credit line of 150 million Ghana cedis to support the government of Ghana and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to meet the payment requirement for agro inputs supplied to beneficiaries under the program. And I believe ADB deserves a round of applause. Secondly, The bank will also assist hardworking farmers participating in the program who intend to expand their operations to transit into successful commercial farmers by providing the necessary support needed. Thirdly, the bank intends to pre-finance a number of agro-input suppliers selected by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture under the program. Furthermore, we have put in place mechanisms to ensure seamless recovery of the cost of inputs supplied to farmers in all 216 districts of the country. Finally, the bank has set aside an amount of 300 million Ghana cedis as credit facility to support various viable projects in the agricultural value chain in the country for the 2017 financial year.
Over 26,000 public sector workers who have not biometrically registered with SNIT will not receive their salaries this month, April 2017. The head of payroll at the Controller and Accountant General's Department, Mr. George Barr, told GBC24 that the names of the affected persons were not captured to be paid this April.
So, the Ministry of Finance says that some 26,000 plus public sector workers who have not registered with SNIT biometrically, their names will be taken off payroll. We just want to understand. Does it mean that this month these people are not getting their salaries?
Yeah, precisely so. They are not going to be paid this month. They've been suspended pending a further directive as to whether, if they go through the process, they should be reinstated onto the mechanized payroll system. So for April, they are not going to be paid.
Wow. So is there any window of opportunity if any of them goes to register biometrically today, tomorrow, till the end of the month? Do they have an opportunity to be paid this month?
Not at all. You know, payroll is a cycle. It's like you're on the critical path. So you move from one activity to the other. Each of them has timelines. So we've gone beyond where employee can update their SNIT numbers. So the opportunity that they might have is next month, but that will also depend on the further direction from the Ministry of Finance as to whether when they go through the re-enrollment they should be reinstated.
So if Ministry of Finance says they shouldn't be reinstated, it means that they are not going to be paid until Ministry of Finance says otherwise.
Exactly so. Exactly so.
Right. And we hear of activation after you've registered biometrically. I mean, we hear that you have to go and activate it with SNIT. Is that a case?
Well, I think for the activation is part of the SNIT, their processes. But for the payroll, if you go through the re-enrollment and you are given the 13 alphanumeric SNIT numbers, SNIT finishes with the details. So we upload those. We upload the data onto the payroll system on block. So as at close of March 31st March 2017, SNIT finished it with those people who have gone through the re-enrollment process, and we have updated our payroll system accordingly. So those who are still outstanding and they've not taken the window of opportunity that was given, considering the deadline that was given, they are the 26,000 people who.
Ghana joined the rest of the world to mark the International Air Transport Association Day in Accra. Marking the day, the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Abdullahi Al-Hassan, said the authority is working around the clock to ensure that Ghanaian registered air carriers can fly direct to the United States.
Air transport has been the backbone of economies as it facilitates free movement of passengers and goods across the globe. Reports from the Air Transport Action Groups indicate that Africa's aviation industry contributes $72.5 billion to Africa's GDP, providing 6.8 million jobs. The potential of Africa's aviation industry, including that of Ghana, is yet to be harnessed. In this regard, the International Air Transport Association Day has been marked in Accra in order to put the industry on the right track. The Aviation Minister, Mrs. Cecilia Abna-Dapa, said the government aims to improve the link between domestic airports to scale up trade.
To promote trade and tourism in Ghana, government aims to improve the interconnectivity between the various domestic airports and airlines to facilitate free movement of passengers and goods to the various major towns and cities in the country. This will ultimately promote socio-economic development and thereby boosting the local economy.
The Deputy Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Abdullahi Al-Hassan, says plans are far advanced to decouple air navigation service from the Civil Service Aviation Authority.
Work is far advanced to decouple the air navigation service from the Civil Aviation Authority in line with best practice, thereby enhancing the independence of the regulator.
The Africa Vice President of the International Air Transport Association, Mr. Raphael Kulchi, suggested to the government to create an enabling environment that will allow the private sector to drive the aviation business.
As IATA, what we have always advocated is that governments should, as much as possible, try to stay away from getting involved in running airlines. The role of government is to create the enabling environment, create the right environment, and allow private sector to drive the aviation business. That is where successful airlines all around the world are.
Globally, economic impact of air transport is estimated at $2.7 trillion, representing 3.5% of the world's GDP.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV, and this is the business segment. On the interbank market, the pound is selling at 5 cedis 37 pesos, the US dollar at 4 cedis 20 pesos, and the euro is also trading at 4 cedis 50 pesos. On the commodities market, light crude is trading at $52.53 per barrel and cocoa at $1,928 per ton. Gold is going for $1,290.20 an ounce. And that's it for the business segment, brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist. We have more news coming up. Please do stay. Welcome back. This is the health segment of the news, proudly brought to you by Yumvita and FBAC.
A kidney care specialist, Dr. Vincent Boima, has cautioned the public to be conscious of the herbal medicines they consume or risk having their kidneys destroyed. According to him, most herbal preparations may contain active agents, many of which are toxic. A report by Sarah Ofori.
The use of herbal medicines for its curative purposes is an old practice. Herbal medicines serve as an alternative to orthodox medicines due to its antibacterial and antiviral properties. In some cases, they are used as part of a daily diet. However, consequences of habitual use of herbs could be dire, especially in the absence of documented research on the said herbs.
Exposure to nephrotoxins, toxins that can affect the kidney, including the herbs that we use. We have seen people who presented in our emergency rooms after having taken the common herbs that we are all familiar with and developed acute renal shutdown. Now that tells you that if acute can occur, tells you that its use in the long term can also cause chronic kidney condition.
Unlike orthodox medicines, whose active agents, dosage and specific to what conditions they treat, most herbal medicines do not meet such standards.
In the African sub-region, it has been studied and it's been shown and has been demonstrated, an association has been demonstrated between chronic kidney condition and the use of these herbal medications in our sub-region. The herbs themselves contain so many active ingredients. So the active ingredient in the herb, which may be curing the malaria, may only be one. But the rest, which may be made up of probably hundreds of other active ingredients, be toxic to your body. That's the question you have been asked. The paracetamol you are taking has been refined from herbs. It's been taken out. We also have to do ours and take that one out. That is for malaria, and take that one out. That is for another condition, etc. Then we can say that, okay, we have really taken the steps to refine these herbs for our use. We're not saying the herbs don't work. Probably for some ailments it does work. But if you take the whole thing, which is not refined, you are taking other toxic agents into your body.
Dr. Boima tasked regulatory authorities to certify herbal medicines before the public is exposed to them. Sarah for GBC24, Accra.
A UK-based Ghanaian businessman, Peter Boateng, has donated an amount of 1,000 Ghana cedis to support 34-year-old Doris Agbasi, who is suffering from end-stage kidney failure. Doris appealed on GBC24 for an amount of 20,000 Ghana cedis to undergo dialysis treatment at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital early this year.
Mr. Peter Boateng was touched by her plight after watching Doris Agbasi's appeal for funds on GBC24 News on YouTube. He therefore sent an amount of 1,000 Ghana cedis through her sister, Madame Hannah Boateng, to support Doris to undergo treatment. Doris, who was represented by his brother, Jacob Agbasi, was grateful for the gesture. Jacob says Doris is being scheduled for a kidney transplant and still needs financial support. He is therefore appealing to all benevolent organizations and individuals for financial support. Anyone who wishes to support Doris can send their donations to Jacob Agbasi, MTN mobile money number 0240 575 456. No amount is too small.
The health news was brought to you by Yumvita and FPAC. The next is international news.
Good evening, let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa to athletics. The Ghana Athletics Association GA's National Circuit Open Championship took place at the Barbara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. The Barbara Sports Stadium in Kumasi was the venue for the third edition of the Ghana Athletics Association GAA National Circuit Championship. The competition, which is in its fifth year, seeks to give locally based athletes the opportunity to qualify for major international competitions. This year, the focus is on qualification to the upcoming Junior Athletics Championships in Kenya and the World Athletics Championship in London in June and August. Hundreds of athletes drawn from the 10 regions, the security services, the Ghana Education Service, and some tertiary institutions participated in the discus event. Audu Bachila finished third with a throw of 40.33 meters, whilst Daniel Ishen from the Ghana Prison Service came second with 41.22 meters, with Robertson Tay from the Greater Accra region winning with a throw of 44.47 meters. In the finals of the women's 10,000 meters, Elizabeth Azuri from the Upper East region finished first with a time of 36.19 seconds, whilst Precious Nyaba from Ashanti region came second, with Asibi from the Upper East region finishing third with a time of 36.52 seconds. In the 1,500 meter finals, the 2015 winner of the Accra Milo Marathon and the first Ghanaian lady to cross the finishing line in last year's Millennium Marathon, Sakat Lariba from the Upper East region came first with a time of 4 minutes 31.18 seconds. She was followed by Rita Chre from the Ashanti region and Fatima Sumwa also from the Ashanti region. In the high jump event, Ezekiel Kwashi from the Greater Accra region came first after clearing the bar at 2.00 meters. Frank Ending from Gusa UCC finished second after clearing the bar at 1.95 meters. Robert Kute from the Greater Accra region came third. In the finals of the women's 100 meters, Ashanti region's finest sprinter, Hall Haluti, clocked 11.67 seconds to beat a quality field made up of Ida Mensah from Gusa UG and Sandra Kunedu Asibu. In the finals of the 200-meter men, Safo Mensah from the Ashanti region came first with 20.98 seconds. O Mensah from the Ashanti region came second, with Bright Chiti from the Greater Accra region finishing third with a time of 21.47 seconds. Let's still stay in the Ashanti region, where the tartan track at the Barbara Sports Stadium is fast deteriorating. The situation hindered most of the locally based athletes from giving off their best for fear of getting injured during the National Open Circuit Championship at the weekend. The Barbara Sports Stadium is a multi-purpose stadium in Kumasi. It is Ghana's biggest stadium with a seating capacity of 40,528. The stadium is used mostly for football matches and athletics. Since the facility was renovated in 2008, GBC24 Sports Checks reveals that little attention has been paid to it in terms of maintenance works. This is the state of the facility as of Saturday, 15th April 2017. Despite the tartan tracks not in the best of condition, officials of the Ghana Athletics Association had no choice but to stage the third edition of the National Open Circuit Championship there. The net effect was there, as most athletes, after completing their event, complained of severe pains in their ankles, among others.
As you can see the tartan here, if you be running, someone will be in front of you, you will not see the ground well, and there will be a hole there, you will step on it. It may, you will lose some time, at least. Some seconds will go away, and that second can help you pass, qualify for those kind of games. So there's a lot of problems. So we have been doing our best. I have been doing my best. But my best alone will not be enough. Someone will have to support, but that support is not coming.
The Vice President of the Ghana Athletics Association, Dr. Sylvanus Lamte, appealed to authorities to help maintain the facility.
I was surprised to see the Kumasi Sports Stadium like this. It is just too bad. It's just like what we saw last 4 weeks at Ewak. So if the Kumasi Sports Stadium is also like this, if the turf is like at Ewak, then something is radically wrong.
The Barbara Sports Stadium is one of the facilities in the country capable of hosting national and international athletics events. That's all for sports.
Hello, good evening. This segment is brought to you by Kanketsi Cowbell. My name is Valerie Danso. Comfort Arthur is one of the few female film animators in the country. Comfort is a filmmaker, writer, editor, and actress. Comfort has been nominated for Female Animator of the Year at the Ghana UK-based awards, GUBA. Ghana UK-based Awards is an award scheme that recognizes and celebrates Ghanaian achievement in the UK. Comfort is recognized for her short animated film Black Barbie, which preaches against skin bleaching.
My history as in terms of what I've done as an animator and what I've achieved as well.
Comfort touched on some awards she has won with Black Barbie.
The film Black Barbie, which is my short animation that has gone into 20 different festivals around the world and won a lot of awards
as well.
And by Al Jazeera News, which it's had about 2 million views on about skin bleaching, which was, amazing.
To vote for Comfort, one must log on to www.gubaawards.co.uk, scroll down to the animation section and click on Comfort Arthur. To you by Cowbell, we'll take the weather report.
To achieve a high yield, you should apply Asasura special cocoa fertilizer to your cocoa trees. Asasura will replace nutrients that are lost from the soil as your cocoa pods grow. First, you must weed. Use a cutlass to weed. Remove all weeds. Any weeds on your farm will take up the Asasura. That is, you will yield less cocoa. Brush under the cocoa trees with a cutlass. The next step is to measure an acre before applying Asasura.
That's it for the weather update. Good evening. See you tomorrow.
And this is where we part company on News Hour on GBC24 and GTV. Join us again at 10 for the late edition.